Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent video for this week, for the week of August 11th to the 17th, 2024, where I take a look at a couple of stories that caught my attention, give you my thoughts and my opinion about them. For this week, we'll be taking a look at the Borderlands movies and well, let's just say the box office returns raises some serious doubts about any chances of a sequel. Reports coming out about the possibility of a Switch release date, Switch 2 to be exact, or the spiritual successor to the Nintendo Switch. Some information has come out in regards of possibly what we could expect inside the Switch 2, assuming these rumors are true by any chance. And the fact that Tango GameWorks, that was thought to be killed off by Microsoft, has been revived, and another company has certainly purchased Tango GameWorks and everything like that. So we'll be talking about those stuff. If you're interested in where I got the source of these informations, links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And if there's certain parts of this video you wish to skip to, timestamps will be in the description of this video as well, and also at the beginning of this video, just in case if there are certain parts you wish to skip to or not though. But before we get started, I would like to do what I like to call which is the quick My 2 Cents, stories that kind of caught my attention, but we're not going to go into a huge amount of details though. The first one has to do with the report of Emo the Smiling Man, which that teaser that Nintendo did a couple of weeks ago that people were trying to figure out though, has certainly got its summary on the ESRB rating system, and has certainly gotten, obviously the M rated. Plus there's reports coming out that there is supposedly a demo that you could try out of that game though. It certainly caught people's attention, and when it was finally revealed, it certainly wasn't the game that I think some people were hoping for or anything like that. Nevertheless, it is kind of encouraging to see Nintendo take a stab at doing an actual, developing an actual N-rated game. And I would certainly be open for them to doing that with maybe some new IPs if they decide to work on, going forward and everything like that though. We also learned that supposedly a random individual has set a world record by connecting 400 plus game consoles to one TV. And I have to say, that's kind of impressive, not to mention I can't imagine what that person's electric bill is. But so far this person has entered into the Guinness World Records and everything like that, and I will say it is kind of impressive what this person did though. Excuse me. We also learned that Good Feel is basically developing an inspired game based off or somewhat their take on the Mystic Ninja starring Gomi, if I'm saying that name correctly, the Konami series though, and it's getting a localization here in the West, which is certainly nice for those who are into some of those smaller titles and everything like that. And I do like some of the games Good Feel has done before. Wario Land Shake It was also a fun game, Kirby's Epic Yarn, to even, some of the Yoshi games they did were not bad, like Yoshi Woolly World and Yoshi's Craft World and everything. So I am curious about this game in particular. And last but not least, we know that Retro Realm Games, or at least with partnering up with Way Forward, are working on two 16-bit platform games based off of, on Halloween themes, including one based off of Halloween and, Evil Dead and everything like that. So it's certainly kind of interesting to be exact. So I am very curious about these games, and considering that they're being done by Way Forward, it certainly has kind of perked my interest, since they're known to do, I would say, some pretty good 2D games and all with their interesting, art style and everything. And in the movie and TV show part of the Quick My 2 Cent, we do have a new trailer showing off for Kraven the Hunter, which is another Spider-Man villain getting his own movie and all. This one, while it does seem somewhat promising, I seriously have my doubts about this one, considering that outside of Venom, I think Sony has had a hard time with some of these other characters in the Spider-Man universe, has done very well. Mobius didn't do well at the box office. Madam Web, which we saw really bombed at the box office and everything like that. So I'm not sure about this one. I have my doubts, but we'll see when it comes out. It's supposedly coming out around the same time the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie is, and I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not, considering how well the first two Sonic movies did at the box office and everything like that. We also learned that basically Paramount Global has sort of cut about some of their jobs, though. This after, basically, after Skydance has purchased Paramount and everything like that, though. It is very unfortunate that some of these people are losing their jobs. I think it's part of the Paramount TV. But supposedly they'll get severance package and everything like that. Nevertheless, it is still very unfortunate, and I hope these folks are able to basically find jobs. And last but not least, the voice actress that voiced Mitzi in the Pokemon franchise, so it basically Rachel Ilias, if I'm saying her name, sadly has passed away and everything. I'll admit I'm never really gone to Pokemon or anything like that, but there's no doubt the phenomenon and the fan base for that franchise indeed. So I'm sure a lot of Pokemon fans are a little bit disappointed to see her pass away. My heart goes out to her friends, her family, and fans of Pokemon who, unfortunately, this is certainly sad news indeed. Okay, with the quick My 2 cent part now done, along with the movie and TV show part of my 2 cent, we'll get started, or the quick My 2 cent part, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with Tango GameWorks and its revival and everything like that. Now, as some of you are aware, earlier this year, one of the big shockers we heard was the announcement of Tango GameWorks being shut down by Microsoft, along with several other studios like Arcane Austin from Bethesda, and another studio from Bethesda as well, and everything like that. Arcane Austin, I would say, was probably, while disappointed, not shocking considering the fact of the whole debacle and the mess that Redfall put itself into, although we finally got an offline mode for that game, which is certainly nice, but the stigma that stuck with it really did a lot of damage to Arcane Austin, despite claims that they were looking to hire for a new single-player experience and everything like that. Tango GameWorks, on the other hand, was sort of a shock for a lot of folks because it kind of flied into the face of some of the comments Microsoft had made in the past about opening, going into the Japanese market, to even the claims when Aaron Greensberg talked about how successful Hi-Fi Rush was, the last game from Tango GameWorks at the time. And of course, basically, there was that, and so forth. So it just really did, I think, kind of, to a certain degree, damage Microsoft's image to a certain extent, and it kind of throw question in terms of all these acquisitions. Are the studios now safe? Many are concerned because of Hellblade 2 and that kind of situation. To basically, to folks don't want to see Microsoft buy more studios after seeing what happened to Tango GameWorks. Not to mention, when they announced the new controller on the day Tango GameWorks was being closed, they got enormous backlash over it, though, to the point they had to take it down and sort of text the message a bit differently to it, and so forth. To even folks like Matt Booty and Sarah Bond and leadership really wasn't delivering clear-cut message. So that turned into, pardon my language, one giant shitstorm, to be exact, though. Well, this week kind of was a surprise that I think none of us thought that this was going to happen. And it turns out to be that Tango GameWorks has been revived in a way, courtesy of a studio called Krafton, or this firm coming out from South Korea and everything like that. In an article from GameIndustry.biz, it reads that, quote, PUBG publisher Krafton has acquired Tango GameWorks and Hi-Fi Rush IP from Xbox as part of a strategic agreement. The firm said it's working with Xbox to enable a smooth transition so that Tango Game team can continue developing the Hi-Fi Rush IP and explore future projects and all. It points out that Krafton said that the acquisition will have no impact on the availability of Tango's previous release, and they will remain available where they are currently. The firm said in a statement, the integration reinforces Krafton's dedication to expand its global footprints and enhance its portfolio with initiative and high-quality content. The addition of Tango GameWorks represents a strategic alignment with Krafton's, if I'm saying the name correctly, mission to push the boundaries of interactive entertainment. Krafton is a South Korea publisher that's best known for publishing the hit PUBG Battleground, Terra, and the Callisto Protocol. Its profile of studios include Bluehole, Pub Studios, Striking Distance, Neo Giant, and more. I will say part of me is on one hand kind of happy that this means that Tango GameWorks is being revived, but on the other hand, I can't help but shake the feeling of what we saw with Embracer Group and how they were buying up all these studios and everything like that. Then that whole Saudi deal just fell apart and it created a domino effect which forced them to close several studios down. Even one like Free Radical, where they revived to try to bring back the Time Splitter franchise, and they got shut down. So I'm both happy to hear this, but somewhat concerned, to be exact though. However, it does seem to indicate that the purchase of Tango GameWorks does have sort of a silver lining to this, and this also includes any of their other IPs, and it seems as though that according to, at least from Push Square, I mean not Push Square, Pure Xbox, they're saying that they've only acquired the Hi-Fi Rush IP. It says here, it points out that the article says that, quote, to really series like The Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo are no longer under the guidance of Tango GameWorks. As noticed by the source, it means if Tango ever wanted to do another entry of its existing series, it might need to jump through a few hoops. Keep in mind that the founder, Shinji Mikami, has also left the studio. Of course, there's also nothing necessarily stopping the Japanese developer from making games inspired by certain series it may have worked on into the past. So while it does seem to be that the Hi-Fi Rush series will live on, series like Ghostwire Tokyo and Evil Within, on the other hand, doesn't sound like that's going with Tango GameWorks, which I do think it's a little bit unfortunate though. I'm hoping at the very least, maybe if Bethesda or Microsoft decides they want to do an Evil Within 3 or Ghostwire Tokyo 2, I'm hoping maybe they'll bring Tango GameWorks and have them, work on it, everything like that. Of course, there's always a possibility that Tango GameWorks could do a spin-off or do another take on Evil Within, or basically Ghostwire Tokyo, their own IPs and everything like that. So for me, I will say this announcement is both good but also mixed at the same time. So I'm kind of split on this to a certain degree. But I will say overall, I think on one hand, I think it's great that Tango GameWorks is being revived and everything like that, and they're getting back, trying to get everybody back, and hopefully this means we can see more games from them. But on the other hand, I'm also kind of mixed on this because the company that purchased Tango GameWorks, I just can't help but shake the feeling it's an Embracer Group vibe to it, and we all seen the situation Embracer Group is in, and the fact that Tango GameWorks is not getting the rights to Evil Within or basically Ghostwire Tokyo. That will still remain with Bethesda and Microsoft, which unfortunately to me, while I would love to see another entry to this series, the fact that Tango GameWorks, the original developers, are not getting those rights back does kind of throw into question and some uncertainty over the future of those series and everything. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2. And this one has to do with some interesting information on certain specs or everything about the Switch 2 possibly, though it's worth pointing out these are just rumors for the time being. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my 2 cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be talking about Switch 2 or the Switch successor, as some interesting information has come out though. As we get closer to the end of 2024 and all, there has been some talks about the possibility of when Nintendo will start revealing or talking about their next system, Switch 2, Switch successor, or whatever Nintendo is going to refer to it, to be exact. At all. We know that Mr. Furukawa, the president of Nintendo, has recently made a comment that they are planning to announce it before the end of this fiscal year, which many point to, I believe, March 2025 and everything like that. And there are some speculations about the possibility that they could maybe talk about it in September or October, very similar to when the Nintendo Switch was revealed in October back in 2016 and all. But as we wait for that kind of information, more stuff has started to pop up in terms of ranging from the possible announcement to what we could see, particularly in the dock and everything like that. And some games may be ported over to the Switch successor and everything like that. We'll start off with the first one from a site called Gaming Bible. It reads that, quote, according to Famabor member LIC and Luigi Blood, the Nintendo Switch will come with a 60-watt charge and a cooling fan inside the dock. The chargers, whose technology is found in modern-day mobile phones and laptops, is believed to be able to reach a higher clock speed as well as allowing the hardware to charge at a much faster rate. This information was discovered courtesy of data mining exchange between Nintendo and NVIDIA, and with the use of GAN technology, the charger will be easily overpowered its Nintendo Switch counterpart. Not only that, but data from the manufacturer Delta Electronics alludes to a new cooler which will be smaller and go alongside the one already presented in the current console. With the Nintendo Switch 2 reportedly featuring a NVIDIA 239 chip, 8GB RAM, 64-bit storage space, and now a much improved battery and charging life, though none of this is confirmed at this time, it is shaping up to be a big improvement on its predecessor. Additionally, it's believed games will be able to hit 120 frames per second thanks to the handheld display having a refresh rate of 120 Hz. Now, I will say the one that kind of, assuming this information is true, again, nothing's official at this time, the one thing that kind of caught my attention, I thought this was neat, was the use of basically putting a cooling fan inside the dock and everything like that. As you are aware of, with the current Nintendo Switch, there is no cooling fan of any type whatsoever in the dock, which, and sometimes, depending on the situation, your Nintendo Switch, depending on the condition that your Nintendo Switch is, and could, in a way, overheat and everything like that. So to have sort of a dock, have a fan and a cooling into the fan, or cooling fan in this dock and everything like that, is a welcome addition. Indeed, assuming this information is true and everything like that. So I'm definitely down with it if it turns out to be true. Another thing they do want to point out, another thing that's been pointed out, and this comes from VPCF Tech, is the fact that we could see some of the games could get, like Assassin's Creed Shadow and previously entries could make their way over to the Switch successor. According to a new rumor from Nash Weedles, all the most recent entries in the series, as well as last year's Assassin's Creed Mirage, which includes Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Odyssey, and the upcoming Assassin's Creed Shadow, are going to be ported to the Nintendo Switch 2. The latest entry in the series was supposed to be ready for the console's launch window of around 6 months or so, while the others will be released progressively over time. The Odyssey and original ports will be bundled together, which makes sense considering they are rather old games at this point. These ports will also only be the beginning of Ubisoft will reportedly bet heavily on the new console, though. Nico Felipe, editor of Universal Nintendo, if I'm saying the name correctly, who proved to be reliable in regards to Nintendo leaks, did not collaborate the entire leak, but did back up Assassin's Creed Shadow port. So it's likely owners of the Nintendo Switch 2 will be able to play the latest entry in the series on the system within 6 months of launch. No matter how reliable these leaks could be, take all this with a grain of salt until official confirmation of these ports, though. I mean, again, if this is true, I'm definitely down with it, although I am very curious to see how well these games will run on Nintendo's next system and everything like that, especially with something like Assassin's Creed Shadow, which is, the newest entry that's going to most likely be running on, Xbox Series X and S and the PS5 and all. So I am very curious to see how those games will run on something like the Switch 2 and everything like that, assuming, these games have been officially confirmed and everything. And last but not least, there is reports of the possibility that Nintendo may be planning another Nintendo Direct soon, along with the Indie World showcase, though. Rumors seem to be pointing to a September 2024 Indie World showcase and a possible final Switch exclusive. This has sort of raised the speculation that Nintendo, if this is true, could be aiming for the possibility that maybe in, September or possibly in October, we could start them posting a video out of the Switch successor or the Switch 2. Again, this isn't confirmed yet. We still have to wait and see if that is the case, but I will say it is certainly not out of the realm of possibility that Nintendo could repeat the same strategy they did with the original Nintendo Switch back in 2017. Again, we still have to wait for official confirmation, so all this stuff should be taken with a grain of salt at this time. But overall, I would say if some of these rumors are true, I'm definitely down with it. I'm down with the idea of a cooling fan in the dock, especially if you're playing the game in console mode and all. I'm definitely down with the idea of Assassin's Creed Shadows, or the latest entry in the Assassin's Creed series coming over to the Switch successor, though. And I would definitely be down if these reports are true that Nintendo could be revealing the Switch 2 in October after a September Direct. Again, we don't know yet. Nothing's official at this time, so take it with a grain of salt. But like I said, it is definitely not out of the realm of possibility or anything like that. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3, and this one has to do with the report of the possibility that there might be a change in the possible release date for the Switch successor, that some are speculating it may not be released in March of 2025 or something like that. So we'll take a quick break and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of my 2 cent video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at reports coming out on the possibility of the Switch successor's release date and everything like that. Now, a lot of people up to this point, as rumors started to pop up about the Switch 2 and the Switch successor, there are many who are believing that the Switch 2 would follow the similar approach that what we saw with the Nintendo Switch back in 2016 and 2017. Have a reveal in October and have the system out by March of 2017 or March of next year and everything like that. That was sort of what many people thought, though. Of course, the release date has kind of fluctuated back and forth. There were many who thought this game system would come out in 2024, and then reports started coming out that wasn't the case. And since we're in August, almost near the end of 2024, it's unlikely the system is going to come out unless Nintendo decides to pull a rabbit out of their hat and surprise us. It's unlikely that will be the case. Well, a new report is coming out that it does seem to be, if assuming this report is correct, that the Switch 2 or the Switch successor may not follow the exact same route that Nintendo followed with the original Switch back in 2016 and when it was revealed, when it was finally launched in 2017. From an article from GameSpot, it reads that, quote, a number of developers believe the next Nintendo system may not be released until well into 2025. While speaking on the GI podcast, journalist Christopher Dring, if I'm saying the name correctly, sought to clear up a popular rumor that Nintendo's successor to the Switch may be released by the end of this fiscal year, which ends on March 31st, 2025. According to what he said, quote, no developer I have spoken to expects it to launch in this financial year. In fact, they've been told not to expect it in this financial year. A bunch of people I spoke to hope it's out in April and May. For what it's worth, Eurogamer said it collaborated this, knowing that the next Switch console won't be released until April 2025 at the very soonest. Now, it is worth pointing out Nintendo has not commented on the release date or anything like that. We're still waiting to hear official confirmation, though. And I kind of can see this sort of going, look at this in two different kind of perspectives on this. On one hand, I will say, assuming this rumor is true, it would be a little bit disappointed, though, because it would have been nice to get, because I know a lot of us would like to get our hands on Nintendo's next system and everything like that, and a lot of us would have liked to see them take the same approach like they did with the original Switch back in 2016 and 2017. But on the other hand, one could technically argue, though, that Nintendo is in a different position than when they were back in 2016 and 2017, though. Bear in mind, by 2016, the Wii U was pretty much coming to the end of its life cycle, mostly because Nintendo wanted to move on from it very quickly, because the Wii U, I know there were some great games on it, though, but to be honest, it was a flop, unfortunately, for Nintendo, and they wanted to move on from their next system as quickly as possible. Now they're in a much different position than they were during the Wii U era, given the huge success the Switch has been for Nintendo in general, though. So it's possible maybe taking that same approach may not be the right idea for them. And it's also possible maybe they want to give developers more time to maybe iron out some certain things before they release their game onto their next system and everything like that. So to me, you could look at this in many ways. Some might think this as a disappointment if the story is true. Others might see it as like, you know, Nintendo is not in the same position as they were during the Wii U era. So it's certainly, maybe it's best not to release it this fiscal year, maybe into the next fiscal year and everything like that. So we'll have to wait and see, and we'll have to wait until we hear official confirmation from Nintendo on what the exact release date for their next system is. So overall, I would say, like I said, there are two ways you could look at this. Some might view this as a negative thing, as they would like to see it take the same approach. But like I said before, others might see it differently, saying that, you know, Nintendo is not in the same position as they were during the Wii U generation and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to our fourth and final part, and this one has to do with the Borderlands movie and, unfortunately, the not-so-great box office it basically tried to achieve and everything. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at the Borderlands movies, and well, let's just say that one didn't exactly do well at the box office, to be exact, though. Now, one of the things we have seen lately is that a lot of movies based off, or TV shows based off of video games have seemed to, I would say, fare better than what we've seen back in, like, you know, the 90s or the early 2000s or even the 80s, for that matter. I mean, we've seen successes like the Castlevania series on Netflix, Witcher on Netflix, Cyberpunk Edge Runner on Netflix and all. We've even seen, you know, The Last of Us on Max, formerly known as HBO Max, do very well. Ark Survival, I think, did somewhat well on Paramount Plus and all. To, you know, the Sonic the Hedgehog movie doing very well with a sort of a mini-series based off of Knuckles that's on Paramount Plus, to the Super Mario Brothers movie doing really well at the box office and all. But at the same time, we've also have gotten some sort of mixed or negative response to basically some adaptations, to be exact. Halo, the first and second season, the response to that series has been pretty much mixed for a lot of folks out there. Two, I think the Resident Evil one on Netflix did not do very well indeed. Well, let's add another one to that list of ones that haven't done very well, and apparently is the Borderlands movie, though, based off of Take-Two Interactive's, or 2K's franchise developed by Gearbox and all. Apparently this movie was in development hell for a long, long time, and unfortunately there were signs indicating that the movie was, I had a feeling, or let's just say we had a feeling the movie was probably not going to do very well. Some of it was ranging from the choice of cast to even when the trailers were showing, I just wasn't really feeling it, because it's a shame, because I do enjoy the Borderlands series, don't get me wrong, but I just wasn't really feeling it with this one. And well, the movie came out, the review scores weren't exactly great, especially got a 0% on Rotten Tomato. It's gone up a little bit, but even so, the reviews aren't exactly that great. And now the box office returns kind of reinforces that argument, though. In an article from Video Game Chronicles, it reads that it's reported by Vanity, the film has opened with a painful low $16.5 million on a $115 million budget. Ouch, and everything like that. Domestically, it took home $8.8 million, with $7.7 million coming from international sales, painting a picture that quite clearly says, "Yeah, we're good, thanks." Variety also noticed that just under 60% of production costs of the film was covered by international pre-sales, according to a source anyway, but it still results that it's far behind expectations. And this author writes, "I think it's pretty safe to say we won't be getting a sequel, at least not anytime soon. The game will probably have to redeem the series image a bit, although supposedly there's been some talks that there has been somewhat of a spike in the interest in the Borderlands video games and everything like that." One person who doesn't seem to be apparently not doing well in terms of taking this reaction to the box office bombs of Borderlands is Randy Pitchford, the guy who's known for multiple controversies and also known for lying to people about aliens, colonial marines, and that episode, to be exact though. His response has not exactly gone over though, and according to an article from GameSpot, it reads that, quote, "The person who probably took it worse wasn't the cast and crew, it was Randy Pitchford, president and CEO of Gearbox, the company where the Borderlands games originated, with another one on the way. Pitchford's response seems like a good stride, even say he was flattering." According to one comment, he said, quote, Say what you're saying is, you like what my friend and I do with our Borderlands video games even more than you like what some of the biggest and best cast and crew of filmmakers on the planet has done. He tweeted, "I'm super flattered. We're working extra hard for you on what's next." The article continues, "That sort of positivity was pretty funny as bad video games adaptations happen, but Pitchford's response hide the fact that he was on a blocking spree. Pitchford blocked people who talking down about the movie, but incidentally also Colossus Borderlands fans and streamers. Pitchford backpedaled a bit and apologized to some of those he blocked, citing effing nuts accounts threatening violence." He said, quote, "I met Borderlands streamer Killer 6 in person and maybe popular streamers Epic as well. Thank you so much for the heads up. That was a mistake and I fixed it." He replied to a fan asking on why he was blocking fans. "I made at least one other mistake. Dude, reach out with a different account. If you hear of any other mistakes, let me know. I am blocking some people who are being mean, nasty, or threatening violence. Some crazy MFs on Twitter, although given Randy Pitchford's behavior, I do question some of his response on blocking some of these folks. I'm not saying there aren't those who are going to the extreme or anything like that, but when you take into account Randy Pitchford's behavior, yeah, it does raise some questions about some of his claim, though." Moving along, it says that, quote, "Ford's video game journalist Paul Tassi also caught some heat when Pitchford unblocked, and then blocked again, seemingly over a short time, though. Pitchford apologized again, even praised Tassi as he did a plug for his book. He hasn't posted about the movie since the weekend, but adds some final thoughts. The money surrounding the movie is the movie studio's risk, so I'm not really affected by that, except that if the studio loses money, it may not want to make another movie, which would be a shame," he posted on social media. So, yeah, even Pitchford, I would say, didn't exactly respond to this very well. But, I mean, I think that you could point to a lot of things of why this movie bombed. I think one of them, and I kind of agree with this argument, is the fact that the movie was aiming for a PG-13 rating and everything like that, which, I mean, when you take into account that the video games are N-rated, why not aim for it N-rated for this one? Why not embrace it, to be exact? I mean, The Last of Us embraced the fact that it was an M-rated game, and that was a TV M-rated show, and that did very well. I mean, that decision to go a PG-13 route, I think, was not the smartest decision for them to do that. Plus, they were also going up against the Twister remake and Deadpool and Wolverine, which were doing very well at the box office. I mean, Deadpool Wolverine recently crossed, I think, the $1 billion mark. And the fact that Deadpool and Wolverine were willing to embrace the R-rated approach shows that, you know, in the past, it showed that R-rated superhero movies can work when they are done correctly. Look at Logan, for example. To look at the recent Amazon Prime videos, The Boys as a good example. of that. So I think if anything, The Last of Us shows that an M-rated video game adaptation of, a movie or TV show adaptation of a video game can work when it's done right. So yeah, I think there are a lot of factors in which the Borderlands movie bombed, though. It's unlikely. I seriously doubt we'll see a sequel. I cannot fathom to see how they will do a sequel to this, given how poorly the movie did at the box office and all. And it might be a while until we see another entry. I mean, if we do see a TV show or a movie, again, it's most likely going to be a reboot or something like that. Honestly, I think they should try, if they ever do another attempt with a Borderlands movie or show, why not take an animated route or anything like that? I mean, look at Cyberpunk Edge Runner. That took an animated or anime route, and look how well that did in terms of saving Cyberpunk 2077. So it's possible they could take that route and all. So for now, time will tell if we'll see another shot with Borderlands in a multimedia format or anything like that. But overall, the fact that this movie bombed, honestly, given some of the response and everything like that, I'm not really shocked by this and all, and nor am I holding my breath that we are going to see a sequel to this movie at all. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Tango GameWorks being revived, though? Do you think this is a good thing indeed? Are you glad to see that Hi-Fi Rush is going to live on and everything like that? Are you happy about this firm or this company buying Tango GameWorks and its employees and the studio? Or do you have some concerns that this could be another, Embracer Group-like situation? What are your thoughts about some of the specs, or at least the cooling fan in the Switch 2 dock or Switch successor, though? Do you think these are some interesting stuff? Do you think some of this could be true? And what about the possibility of Assassin's Creed Shadows being ported over to the Switch successor? Is that something you would be looking forward to playing on the Switch successor and all? What are your thoughts about these rumors about the release date for the Switch 2 and all? Do you think these rumors are true, that it will not be out before the end of this fiscal year? Or do you believe Nintendo is still aiming for the kind of approach we saw with, with the original Switch? Reveal it in October and then have it launched by March of next year and everything like that? You think that's still possible, or it's unlikely to happen? And what are your thoughts about the Borderlands movie bombing and everything like that? Were you shocked to see it bombed, or were you not surprised given some of the response to this approach, to the fact that it bombed, though? Do you think the PG-13 rating hurt the movie? Do you think being released around the same time Deadpool and Wolverine and Twister coming out may have hurt the movie as well and everything like that? Do you think they should have gone an animated route instead of the live action route in any way? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I will appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description of this video, so you watch this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye.